Hi, it's Mark from Fluent Finance Abroad, and I just want to cover the topic of agreement in principles. And if you're interested and looking to get one, these are the documents that you will need to provide either a qualified mortgage broker or an individual bank. So we need to break it down into segments, and not everyone is the same. If you are an employed applicant, you and maybe applicant to your wife or partner. If you're both employed, it's pretty simple, really. Kind of things is obviously your ID, details about where you live, your address, and things like, pay stubs. 6 months is generally fine. The last 3 years tax declarations. In the UK, we're talking about P60s. And in the US, for example, it's W2s, and each country will have their own particular name. So the last 3 years, ideally, that generally covers what you need, and everyone does need a credit report from their home country. It starts getting interesting if you're self-employed, applicant, or you're a company director, you're an employed company director. An employed company director is someone who owns 33% of shares in a particular company. The kind of documents that we're going to need to see from them would be tax returns, personal tax returns for the last 3 years, ideally. The reason why that, we need to see what your net income is after expenses and taxation. This is really important. If you are a company owner and you do derive your wealth from a company or companies, then it will be a great idea to supply a mortgage broker or a bank, if you're going to do it yourself, last 2 to 3 years company accounts. The reason why they ask for company accounts is because they want to see how healthy the company is. If you have a lot of reserves, cash reserves sitting in your company, and you can draw on that, then that gives banks extra peace of mind. Unfortunately, if your company isn't doing so well and the net bottom line isn't that good, a bank will want to see that because they want to see your ability, your capacity to pay in the future. So those are the things that we will need to see in order to get a formal agreement in principle for you. There is no point in sending into a bank documents that aren't clear and they can't read them, they won't accept them. So what we would do is we would analyze the documents, we would optimize the application, and we would send it looking as wonderful as it possibly can do, so that it's got the best chance of getting approved and understood and approved, so that you don't have to worry about that. All applicants need to send in, I mentioned passports, but we need things like copies of your personal bank statements, so we can see how you manage your day-to-day finances, see confirm what credit commitments you have. Proof of funds for the deposit and closing costs is very important. So if you have a share portfolio, you have a savings account, and you're going to use that money for the purchase in Spain, a bank or all banks would like to see where the source of your funds are coming from. If it's a sale of a property asset, that's absolutely fine. But again, it's to confirm that your profile, and it's also to do anti-money laundering checks and know your client type of thing. And I've mentioned credit report, and that's generally it, really. It's not too taxing. Spanish banks are quite good. They will do their own independent checks. So obviously the documents need to be real, but everything can be scanned over or emailed or uploaded into a client portal, and the whole process of gathering documentation is it can take time. Obviously, you may need to speak to your accountant, or it may take a few days to get a credit report. But in general, it's a fairly standard process. But the idea is knowing what documents to provide and when to provide them. The benefits of being pre-approved, subject to you starting your property search, is that it just speeds the whole process up. You know exactly what your budget is, and when you are negotiating with a vendor, you know that you can close quickly, and it just makes your life and the real estate agent's life and the vendor's life that much easier. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.